JD here. I've had a bunch of people in real life asking me how I'm losing weight, what I'm doing, that kind of thing. So I'm going to take a little bit here and I'm going to talk about it. And I hope at the end you all will have a better understanding. Little background. I went in for my DOT physical card and my blood pressure was just way over limits. I thought it was something like 160 something over 90. It's just way too high. At the same time, I've been slowly, but apparently not fast enough, working a little bit on my weight. Because at one point I was up to about 380. So, I was inching toward 400. Generally speaking, I know from experience, the less I weigh, the less my blood pressure is. So that was kind of a scare because a lot of people with high blood pressure, they're diabetic. And I have had a grandma with diabetes, an aunt die of diabetes, an uncle who basically died of diabetes. He was in a bike crash, but if his diabetes had been controlled, it might not be that bad. My dad had it until he died. My mom still has it. So, not looking good. Additionally, there's still a bunch of people in my family who have high blood pressure. I kind of like having all of my limbs. It's kind of not cool to have them cut off. So, and there are just other things too. It may have contributed to high cholesterol is another marker, and that may have contributed to my dad's dementia because parts of his brain had been blocked off by cholesterol because he didn't take his medication. The best thing, though, is try not to develop it in the first place. So the first key is this. Once you hit a certain age, you need to reduce your weight. Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you don't believe me, said the same thing. So my immediate goal is to get beneath 300 pounds and not go back. Whatever it takes, that's what I have to do. Now, once we get to 300 pounds, we may modify things, but we'll talk about that in a bit. What solution did I come up with? Well, the last time I did this, what I did is I basically ate what I want to, but I had a barrier of 2,000 calories a day. So I had 5 meals a day, about 3 hours apart, each of them, on the clock mark, so I always knew when it was. So I would start eating at 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, and I was done. So we did that, and it worked. I lost 100 pounds that way. Anybody who tells you that you have to follow one magical thing or another magical thing is just lying to you. All right? They had a professor at Harvard who went for a month and a couple months and lost 30 pounds, and all he ate was junk food. Mostly, in large part, it is calories in, calories out. And unless you're Michael Phelps and you're swimming 10 miles a day, you're probably never going to exercise enough to balance the calories out with the calories in. So that's how somebody asked, how you don't, you walk up, you hike up the mountain here and you do that, but it doesn't look like anything. That's right. No amount of exercise can overcome an incredibly shitty diet. And that's what it is. Can't lie. So what am I doing this time? Well, this time I'm applying 2 different things to see what happens. Number 1 is a ketogenic diet. What is ketogenic diet? The basics of the ketogenic diet is the idea that it is fat that makes you feel satiated. It is not carbohydrates, and it is not protein. Carbohydrates create an insulin response nearly immediately. Protein less so, and fat is the least of all. So by having higher fat in your diet, then you should feel satiated and able to not feel as hungry. The second thing that I am doing is I am doing a variation of what's called intermittent fasting. What is that? Well, part of what intermittent fasting is, what it means is you're having a long period of time between your meals. So what people do to start is they'll pick 8 hours a day, they'll have breakfast at 10, lunch whenever, and then dinner at 6, and then boom, they don't eat until 10 o'clock the next morning. So what that does, theoretically speaking, the studies have been showing, is it gives your body not only enough time to digest, but also you don't constantly have insulin in your bloodstream hitting your cells. As long as you don't drink anything but water and have nothing else, you will get the effect. This is why I'm kind of messing that up when I go to the coffee shop or whatever. Really, if I'm going to have a cheat day, it ought to be like a total cheat day, with the intermittent fasting too, but I don't think it's going to break anything. But the basic point is it helps defeat insulin resistance, which in large part is a huge part of diabetes. And again, the people they've been testing that do this tend to have a much better A1C count than those without. Now, it's the same thing with the keto. Once you start doing it, there's all the people out there with their mystical bullshit about, oh, well, it makes you feel better and wake up, and it's like, well, I guess, as long as you don't suffer from depression, I guess that's true. But no, there's nothing magical happening. I'm basically cutting my calories down by half. Not unlike what they do on that god-awful show, 600-Pound Life. Remember, they're targeted for 1,200 calories in order to get surgery. I'm doing 14 because, I'm 30% better than they are. I can't say. So the big thing here is using and if you think about it, our early ancestors didn't get to eat whenever the heck they wanted to. That didn't start happening until agriculture came around. Prior to that, it isn't like they didn't plant anything, but once they had permanent settlements in agriculture, it changed from the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. And the hunter-gatherer was like for most of human history. Period. End of story. They don't get to eat every day. They don't get to eat all the time. Sometimes they got to go without food. So using that principle in your own life, people have said, well, it makes me feel sharper. It makes me feel smarter. It makes me feel that. Well, you were a dumbass in the first place if you think that. Seriously. How do people come up with this shit? So that's it. I eat 1,400 calories a day approximately. Sometimes I save calories and I have stuff later. Like last week on Thursday, I only had 900, but then Sunday morning I had an additional 600 because, what was my life lacking? The Kraken. We have 1,400 calories a day. So the people out there will freak out. Oh no, you need 2,000 to live. Now, calm your nerves. Here's the thing. It says based on your activity level and other things. Your personal needs may vary. So 2,000 is a suggestion. Is this going to be a permanent thing? Am I always going to do 1,400 calories? Probably not. Probably going to up that a little bit. But the big thing is get beneath 300. Hopefully get to the point where we're sure blood pressure is going to be good. We're going to have fewer problems, to use proper English, and then work on it like that. So what exactly am I doing? Essentially, what it is this particular version of keto, it's less than 50 grams of carbs per day, not including fiber. So the other carbs, and avoiding sugar at all costs, but it's going to be a part of every plant out there. That's chlorophyll. It has sugar in it. And then equal weight grams of fat and protein. The idea is the body starts burning the fat, and then eventually a process begins, because you're not feeding it carbs, called ketosis, where it starts burning the fat in your body as well. So it throws fat off at the same time that it throws off water weight off. Now, I'm still convinced I'm in the water weight phase here, because when you weigh as much as I do, and I weigh a lot, you have a lot of water weight on you. Every day, I do that. I start cooking about 10 o'clock at night, I eat about 11. Now, somebody out there will say, but wait, my doctor told me, blah, 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 blah. Well, your doctor probably didn't have nutrition classes, because that's actually a thing. It's not a very popular thing among doctors. And honestly, nobody really understands it, because you can take one person who's diabetic and take away all animal fats and all animal products, and they will not show symptoms of diabetes. You take another person who did that and failed, put them on like a ketogenic diet, and they will succeed. And the two things should not happen together. But probably due to a factor of genetics, is what it probably boils down to, it's possible. So the thing is, you just have to, and most people probably fall right in the middle. The doctors don't know. They're still doing research. I'm not even sure they know what the questions are. The thing is, if it works, do it. And like I said, I'm not saying this is forever, this is going to be the rest of my life, but for now, it's a thing. Next question. Won't your body freak out if you start getting carbs again? I don't think so. You know, I was able to do it before, and it was fine. The big problem, well, I won't get into the big problem, because that's somebody else's stuff, and I don't want to get in anybody else's business. Let's just say that I wasn't able to do a lot of cooking where I was living, so basically living out of restaurants. Not only bad for the pocketbook, but bad for everything else, too. And, God, I don't know whoever said, oh, well, once you're off of sugar for a week, you won't miss it. Okay? I want to find this guy and just, like, dick punch him repeatedly, because that is the biggest fucking lie ever. God, everywhere I go, it's like, oh, there's sugar here, there's sugar here, there's sugar here, sugar, sugar. I mean, I'm in my friggin' house over here, and they've got Reese's peanut butter cups everywhere. This is kryptonite to me. It's like, oh, Halloween, candy, don't want any of that. Hey there, buddy, you want some candy? No. Please, Jesus, no candy. Can't handle that shit. I want to make sure that they never reproduce, and if they have, I want to make sure they don't reproduce. Make sure that this never happens to anyone from that genetic line ever says anything that stupid ever again. Sins of the father visited upon the children, third and fourth generation if necessary. Okay, whew, feeling better now. So that's it. We eat once a day. That way we get the full benefit of intermittent fasting. 1,400 calories on average. Keep the carbs down. Keep everything else approximately where I want it. Drink water. Ketosis can kill your kidneys or can damage them if you're not drinking water. So I usually get through about half gallon a day. Sometimes a full gallon, depending. Exercise, you know. It isn't that the distance up there is, and I'm literally looking over here and looking at a mountain that you cannot see. Surely, this is a way to success. It isn't about the distance. It's about controlling heart rate, you know, to make sure you don't die of a friggin' stroke up there. And it's about carefully, this was in one of my videos before, might have been on Facebook, but you know, placing your feet carefully, relatively carefully. That way you don't hurt yourself. Because the way the knees and the hips go out is the ankles go first, then the knees, then the hips. In that order, that's usually how it happens. Controlling your heart rate, placing your feet, and I mean, it's like a 10 to 11% grade. It sucks. Especially at the end, because the grade goes up significantly, and it, oh God, it's just terrible to climb. But you do what you have to do, because you got to do something. So no kind of exercise that's going to go crazy and create a hunger response, because walking usually doesn't in humans. And that's it. That's what it is. So hopefully this will help to fix things, and then we don't have to worry about anything. Well, I mean, we're going to have to keep the weight down permanently now. And that means once I'm done and I'm at whatever the target weight is, studies have shown you have to maintain the weight for a year in order for your body to catch on. This is where you need to be. And then, like I said, it's just being careful. You know, the reason that I don't eat with friends is because that could be cheating. Okay, now you're giving your body a little something more. Okay, now you're giving a little more. Then the next day it's a little easier. And the next time it's a little easier. And before you know, you've crept back up to where you don't want to be. So it's easier to just maintain discipline and just do it. When my mind is, and I'm prepared to do a thing, I throw myself right at it. You know, that's how, motivation's a hard thing sometimes because, you know, not enough serotonin in there. But, when it's time to get it done, it gets done. That's how I've lived my whole life. And this is no different. So we're going to succeed. This time, we're just going to keep it where it needs to be and not have to worry. If the doctors want to bitch at me about being 225, it's like, well, how about 400? Is that okay? How about I go back to that? Or how about you shut your friggin' pie hole and just let me do my thing here? It's a risk, but it's not as risky. You know, not everybody can be 180. This video has been very long. I think it's been informative. I hope you understand. If you have any questions, feel free, leave them below. I suppose if you're watching us on Facebook, you can catch it there. I haven't eaten today. I'm going to go inside, get some chow. I want to thank each and every one of you who's been asking, has been very supportive about it. You know, it kind of sucks sometimes because it's like you're fine during the day, but the closer you get to feeding time, the more you want to gnaw your own left arm off. Oh, God. It looks kind of delicious right now, but, you know, my favorite arm. What can I say? All right, I'm out. Bye.